Right, and joining us now is Dr. David Duke. He, of course, is a former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard and former Louisiana State Representative. Also ran for U.S. Senate, for Governor of Louisiana, etc. Welcome to the show. Let me ask you, quite a stir.
Well, first, let me respond to one thing. I kind of object to that introduction. You know, Robert Byrd was a former Klansman many years after I was. He was never introduced when they had a talk show, former Ku Klux Klan Grand Cyclops. I think there's a difference in this. I think the media does this as a way to defame me. I know that you're used to hearing the media, but I was in the Klan 40 years ago. I was also a member of the House of Representatives. My background is a legitimate subject, but it is not really part of my name.
All right, well, let me ask you. Do you still have a problem with Jews?
I have a problem with Zionism.
Do you have a problem with blacks?
No, actually, listen, I don't consider myself at all anti-Jewish, anti.
All right, well,
if you let me answer the questions, I'll answer
well,
your questions.
Did you say that you were quoted to say white people don't need a law against rape, but if you fill this room up with your...
First of all, let me tell you something. I know that quote is from the Wichita, so-called from the Wichita Sun. It's a totally bogus quote. It's an inaccurate quote. There's no tape of any quote like that. It's a misquote of me. It's totally bogus.
But you were the Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard, weren't you?
If you're going to give me a chance to respond, I'll be happy to do so with you.
You did. You said you disavowed the quote, so I asked another question.
Let me tell you something. I was in the Klan for 3 years, a non-violent Klan organization. I left the Klan. I tried to convert it or to reform it into a political thing. I've always condemned supremacism. I've always condemned violence, and that's what I've been doing. I was elected to the House of Representatives. I became the Republican nominee for the United States Senate in my state. I beat the sitting Republican governor from the vote of Republicans, 490,000 votes to his 410,000.
Okay, but
and the Republican Party has adopted my program, which I first came out. I was the first Republican to talk about massive immigration.
David, but Doctor, you were...
Klan is irrelevant. I'm not in the Klan. Do you understand that?
But you were in the Klan.
Yeah,
you were the Grand Wizard of the Klan, were you not?
What? Let me tell you something. I was on CNN today, and the guy that interviewed the people and trying to hurt Donald Trump was a guy named... Well, his name is Van Jones.
Van Jones. I have no use for Van Jones, but he wasn't.
I know he's a former communist. CNN. And look, I saw 1,000 articles in our controlled media in this country.
Doctor,
let me finish, please.
I want to get to Donald Trump. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Let me finish.
Doctor, I can't play by your rules. I can't play by your rules. I don't want to waste time on this.
We don't have to do the interview. I'll just play this tape of what's happening here today to my people and our people on the internet. That's what you want.
I want to go on and ask you about Donald Trump.
Answer your question.
What was my question? I said, were you...
If I don't have an opportunity to answer your question fully, I haven't said one complete sentence hardly without you interrupting me.
Because
Van Jones had hundreds and hundreds of articles in the internet. He was a former communist. He was a communist.
So what?
I'm going to finish, please. He was a former communist. When I was a member of the House of Representatives, member of the Republican caucus, and having a perfect Republican voting record, they never, not a single article says former communist revolutionary, all right, Van Jones. Now, the same thing is true of Nelson Mandela. There's not a single article in the major media saying Nelson Mandela, former communist terrorist. So it's an unfair standard. I understand why you might say it because you've read it a million times, because they don't want to listen.
Doctor, I need to ask you about Donald Trump. Have you come out in support of Donald Trump? And that's the question right now, and I need an answer to that.
I'll be specific. And I know it's a fine distinction, but it's a distinction. Right. I said specifically every time I said, and I think people should vote for him. I think he's a challenge to the establishment. He's the only guy that's really stood up hard in the immigration issue, which I think is the most important issue. It will destroy America if European Americans become a tiny minority in this country, and that's where we're headed. Because the people come, even Romney, who was for amnesty, he couldn't get but 20% of the Mexican vote. He got some other Hispanics who are Cuban and European descent, Spanish descent, but he couldn't get 20% of the Mexican vote. And in the future, if this country changes, if European Americans lose our country, we lose America, and every Republican and conservative principle will be lost as well. So that's why I'm supporting Donald Trump.
All right, well, you say you're supporting him, but you said you're not endorsing it. Did you not say that voting against Donald Trump at this point is really treason to your heritage?
Yes, because I think that the other two candidates, Cruz and Rubio have literally supported amnesty. Even Cruz. Now, Cruz says he didn't.
Does it have anything to do with their Cuban heritage?
Not at all. In fact, both of those are European Americans, and I don't mind that. And I don't mind, in fact, I don't consider myself against blacks or even Mexicans or anybody else. But I believe European Americans are the ones being discriminated today, excuse me. And that's the issue.
All right, let me ask you.
Look, the government of our country has a policy intentionally to make European Americans a tiny minority.
Right. Don't you think your support of Trump is going to hurt him?
Well, let me tell you, right after this came out, it was massive news. For 3 days, he jumped 10 points in the polls. Again, I got 65% of the European American vote in my state as a Republican, and from Republicans and Democrats. So, yes, I don't think it's not going to hurt Donald. It didn't hurt Donald Trump. What hurts Donald Trump, the people who've made this association, I'm not gone to the media on this. I've not been the one. I just told my radio followers, I have hundreds of thousands of them all over America, and the people who watch my YouTubes, that I think that strategically you should vote for Donald Trump because he's the strongest.
Have you ever met Donald Trump?
No, I never have.
Have you ever spoken to him at all? Any contact?
Never.
Has he ever reached out to you? Has he reached out to you recently or in the past?
Never. And that's an example of what's going on here. You know, the Democratic Party, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Ted Kennedy all supported a former Klansman, Robert Byrd, become head of the Senate.
I understand that. I also understand that.
The point is this. The point is this. The media did not go viral about this or are in frenzy. They actually supported a former Klansman to become third in line to the presidency.
I have an article in front of me about it with my Ann Coulter, who seems to pick up on what you're saying, but in regards to Al Sharpton and saying that there's a double standard between how you're treated and Al Sharpton. You approve of Ann Coulter's piece?
Well, I approve of certainly that part of it. I mean, a lot of people have misimpressions of me, but they have to read me and hear me. I've got 1.3 billion views on videos about me posted by 250,000 people.
Right.
They have 90% positive.
Dr. David Duke, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. And folks, we're coming back. We're going to take your calls. 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629.